atmosphere like what you did. So I'm going to create new classes. The 3 classes were, there was a tester, there was a, what did we work? Club and membership. Thank you. Okay, so let's create the membership class. And what I'll do is I'll pick up what I gave you and I'll put it in this. Right, so this class is now, of course, incomplete, but it is ready. So whatever I gave you, I'm copying myself. Okay, so the second class was club. Since it was not a Eclipse project, I just have to do it this way. I don't know how you started, but that's how I do it. If you were working on something else, some other ID, then it could be different. I'm getting myself ready with where you were when you started the test. And of course, I had given you the tester, so which was, I mean, you had the output. All you had to do was, I mean, if you knew what you were doing, then everything was ready for you. And now in the retest, I may not create the tester. It takes quite a while. I'm not sure if I will be able to, but I mean, but that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the tester didn't help you if it didn't help you. So I may not be as prepared as for your midterm, but I'm trying my best. I'm going to give you a second chance. I better give it completely. Okay. Okay, let's start then. Let's start with the first class as if you were doing the test. So this was the order in which you should have done it: membership, club, and tester. And that's how I wrote it in my document also, so that you knew the sequence. That's how it will do. This is the project about, if you understood it. This is what the project is about. We are defining a membership. The membership, so basically a member, right? A member who could be a member of a club, a member of the gym, a member of your makers club, whatever, right? So we are trying to define a member. So I call that class membership, and I said each membership is recognized by 3 characteristics: an ID, a member ID, a member name, and the year, month the membership was taken. So you saw a new class here, which is fine. There's no big deal about it. It's just a class, right? You've done date and time. I did local date or time something with you. I used a class in Java with you. So you should be able to use a class yourself. It's not a big deal at all. All you have to do is this: open up your help. So as soon as you see a class which you haven't seen before, all you do is this: you open up your Java help, which was allowed. And get it ready for this, because you haven't seen this before. Maybe you haven't seen this before, right? So let's look for the year month class. I'm looking for the year month class. It's right here. So that's the class we are interested in. It's a class, comes from the java.time package, has inherited from object. Every class inherits from object, and has a few methods and a few I don't think this one has a constructor. No, it doesn't, right? So it has a few methods, but the methods are there. It's all here. So the class is ready. I know that there exists a class. So job 1 done. I've opened up my class for reference. Okay, let's look at the question number 1. It says a constructor to create an object of the membership class. I've given you the params. The params are ID, name, and joined in which year and month they join. Why did I choose the year and month as my class where I wanted to save? Because you can save in this object an year value and a month value. So you could say May 2010, March 2016. So it served my purpose. So instead of creating 2 integer variables, like for month 1, 2, 3, 4 till 12, and for year whatever, this was good. Now it would check. I couldn't use a value beyond 1 and 12, not less. It would give me an exception. So the error checking was done for me. Everything was okay. So I could never go wrong. So something that is already available for me, why would I do it again, right? So Java 8 has created some java.time package and a few good classes in it. There's another one called month, which is an enumerated class. An enumerated class means it has some enumerated constants. And these constants, month, are January, February, March, April, May, June, and so on, and some methods. So if things are available, if something is available in the library, you will use it. You won't write your own book again. You know what I mean? So that's why I chose year month. So I kind of went to that package because we had used that package in class, and I said, let me look if there is another class that will serve my purpose. So I said year and month is good enough. When you go for being a member of a club, basically, You don't start on, say, 10th of May or whatever. It just says which month and which year. So it worked and it was fine, right? Okay, so let's go back. So what does the first one say? It says create a constructor. And I said, call the relevant set methods to complete the code of the constructors. And the set methods were already written for you. They were already there. The set member ID, look at how a set method works. It takes a value from you and initializes the instance variable. That's its job. That's what it does. So it's like setting a name. When you are born, your parents give you a name. So it would be a method like set name of my child, and in the brackets, the name of the child. So what do your parents do? They take the name and give it to you. That's exactly what a set method does, right? So there are three set methods. There is a set member ID, a set member name, and a set membership taken. All three methods were already written for you. They're taking each a parameter. Doesn't matter what that parameter is called. The job is that parameter is assigned to its corresponding instance variable. So I won't assign name to ID. I mean, I'm a programmer. I know what I'm doing. I'll assign the ID to the ID, name to the name, and the membership taken, the joined into the membership taken. The set methods were ready. All you had to do was call them here. That's all you had to do. Okay, so let's try. Let's call the set member ID. That's the first method I told you to call. Okay, it says it's expecting a string from you. Okay, it's expecting a string from you. Now think about it. What do I need to pass it? This is what is being given to the constructor. What comes in its parameter list, it's the input to the method. Okay, so this is what is coming to it. You want to take this value and assign it to the member ID. And that's exactly what the method is doing. It's assigning to the member ID the value that is coming to it. So give it this value. Here, job done. You have set the member ID. As simple as that. That's exactly what a constructor does. What to use here? Some of you are writing member ID here. I mean, you're picking up the name of the instance variable and putting it here. What sense is that making? Nothing. You're basically assigning null to null. By default, member ID is null. When an object is created, you pick it up and you give it to yours to the itself. That's not what you do. If this was called member ID, then it was different. You don't go by names. Go by the logic. The logic is the input variable is called ID. The input coming to the method is called ID. Take it and assign it to the ID. That's it. What do you do now? The next. The sequence doesn't matter. You just have to initialize all the instance variables of your object. Sometimes the sequence matters, but right here it doesn't matter. Name is not dependent upon ID. The membership taken has no relationship with name and ID. When there are relationships, then you have to be careful how I call my set methods. And you'll see an example of it in your in-class assignment. Okay, but otherwise it doesn't. Okay, so what's next? Set the name, set the member name. And pass it this name, this one, pass it here. By chance it's the same thing. And now set the membership taken. And pass it this joined in. There, constructor is complete. 4 marks. So if you did not even have 4 marks, that means you don't even know how to write the constructor. And that's serious. Really serious. So give it a thought, okay? Give it a thought after what we finished today. See, can you do Java or do you need to retake it? Maybe you need to retake the intro course according to me. I have no clue. But I can only help if you say, okay, it's too late actually. Week 8 is too late, but it's never too late to try something. It's done, finished. We are done with the constructor. 4 marks. That's all that was required. Only thing I was saying is, can you call the set methods that are already present? And all you need to know is how do you pass these values that were given in further to the set methods. And they do their job. So you could have taken this statement and written it right here. But I've always said reuse code. If something is available, use it. Right? Does every instance variable have a set method? Not necessary. Maybe not. So you say, then who decides? You decide as a programmer. Maybe once you create the object and you give it something, and I've done it in club. Once a club gets a name, you can change the name of the club. I made it a final instance variable. So does every instance variable need a corresponding set method? No. Does every instance variable need a get method? No, not necessary. Maybe you don't want to show it to the outside world. You're making your instance variables private. There's a reason you've made them private. You want to hide your data from the outside world because you've given an interface in the front. those methods, those buttons that click and let the user work with it. Think about your car. Think about your car. If the car engine was open, like, would you go and kind of work with the engine to drive your car? No. What has been done? The engine is hidden from you, right? So that data is private. But what has been given to you is brakes and accelerator and everything, like indicators, how to move them. So that's your interface. That's what you're working with. And that's the norm, not the rule, the norm in Java. Keep your data hidden. So all instance variables are private, and make your methods public so that the world can work with it. So you decide, will you have get methods to show the data? You decide whether you will have set methods to set the data. You say, what if there is no set method? Then how will I initialize it? Through the constructor. But once done, done. Then you cannot change it. Okay, so that's the constructor. Any questions on the constructor? That what is a constructor? Constructor can be overloaded. Any method can be overloaded. I could have written a constructor that took nothing. No parameters, and did nothing. You can still create an object by the help of this constructor. What will be the value for its instance variables? Member ID, null, because it is an object. Member name, null, because it is an instant object. Year, month, whatever it's an object, again, null. All three values will be null, but the object will be created. Then you can use the set methods to change its ID and name, and same thing. So a constructor can be overloaded like any other method. You'll say, maybe I'll just take the ID and the name, and we will use today's month and year, which is July of 2016, to initialize year, month. You could do it. So somebody comes to you and you say, here, fill up the form. You'll say, I want to take the membership right away. Sure. You'll just say it's July of 2016, and you can just do it in the constructor without asking for that question from that person. So I could have taken two inputs, ID and name, and we could have initialized year, month to today's date and month, today's month and year. We could have done that too. Then I only need two parameters. So how you write the constructor, how many constructors you write, again, is dependent upon the application you are writing. Okay, I didn't go too much. I didn't say write one that only takes two. And so we'll have to see, can we do something with the current? You can always extract the year and the month. I'm sure there are ways. Year, I remember something .now method in a class we had done. You can always find out what's the month, the current month and the current year from your system clock, and initialize your year, month variable. There'll always be a way to do something. All you have to do is look for it. And that's what you have to also learn. Creation plus looking. Okay, so the rest three methods were given by me. The get methods, again, all they do is return the value. So it's like a button which says, show me what's inside you in your ID field. So the object is here, the data is hidden inside it, and the methods are here. So you're kind of clicking the get button and say, what's your ID? It's like asking a question. The get methods return an answer to you. So they have a return type, but they don't have a parameter list. They don't take anything from you. They're giving you an answer back. This is the object giving an answer back to you. Here is my ID, here is my name, and here is the year, month I took my membership. Again, does every instance variable have to have a get method? Maybe not. Maybe not, right? It's again depends upon what kind of project are you creating, what kind of application you're creating. Okay, if something is available, you can look at it. If something is not available, you can't see it. It's as simple as that. In a car, you can't look at everything in the car, like inside the engine. You can't, because there is no button on your dashboard which says, show me the engine color, show me the whatever, like silly things, but you can do it. You can only work with the methods that are available. So if data is hidden and the user doesn't need to see it, there is no get method. It's private and there is no get method. Okay, so the get methods were provided to you. Now let's look at this one. Okay, what am I saying? I'm saying give me the month name in which the member took the membership. Okay, where is this information available? The year and the month. In which instance variable is this information available? In that membership taken method, instance variable. Where have you kept this information? You've kept this information here in this object. This object contains the year and the month in which the membership was taken. So you will have to ask this object to give you the month, right? So let's look. Does this class have a method that gives you the month value, just the month value? There it is. There is a get method in the month year class that will do your job. You don't have to do anything at all. So you have to know how to use the class, right? So it is an object of type year month. There is a button in that class that says what's the month inside you. So again, remember, membership taken is an object. In the object, it is a what type? Year month type. Inside the object are some instance variables, which will be mentioned somewhere here, up here, right? And then there are these methods. So the method is click, what is the month inside you? Give me the value, and it returns you the month. All you have to do is this. Go to your code, and where you were asking of the month, take your membership taken. That's the object you want to talk to. And say, can you give me your month? And return it back. So I am asking the membership a question. The membership is asking the year month object a question, gets an answer from there, and returns it to me. Job done. That's all you needed. You don't need a local variable. You could have taken a local variable, save this value in that local variable and return it. But you kind of think of it. Ask membership a question. It gives you an answer. You'll say, what answer does it give? Look at what answer it gives you. It gives you an answer of type month. Look, it gives you an answer of type month. You'll say, now what is this month? It's just another enumerated class in Java. Month is another enumerated class in Java. I'm calling it an enumerated class because it's all it has is enumerated constants, right? So look at my type, look at the Java type. I'm already saying I'm returning a month. So ask the question of the object returns it to you, you return it further. Job is done, finished, that's it. Right, same with year. Is there a method that is available that will give me the year? There is, you don't even have to do anything at all. Ask the membership to give you the year and then return it to whoever is asking you. When I say you, I'm talking the membership class, the membership object. Job done, finished. Membership class is done. Not even 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes. It doesn't take anything if you know what you are doing. And then now this method, which was done in class, all you had to do was copy and paste. But let's see if we understand it again. Let me explain what this method does. It clearly says it overrides the equals method of the object class. So if you're confused as to what should be the signatures of this class, what is this method she's talking about? Go to the object class. Oh, in this one. Go to the object class. Why is it? It's looking on the right hand side. I want it to look on the left hand side. LMNOPQRS. That's strange. If I put my mouse here, it's in java.lang. We know that we can kind of do it here. But I'm trying to see if I say object, I'm here and I'd say object here. Okay, now it is. Okay. Let me look for this object class for you. MNOPQRST. Here. Okay, click on it. Remember, this class is that special class in the Java API from which every other class inherits. We haven't done inheritance, but this is the rough idea of inheritance, which you must have maybe heard in your first course also. Inheritance means a blueprint is created. You want to create another blueprint. So maybe there's a blueprint of a house with 2 rooms, right? You want to now create a house with 4 rooms. Since that blueprint is available, what you will say, you'll say, give me that blueprint and I'll make changes to it and see if I can add 2 more rooms on the first floor or in the basement. You know what I mean? That is inheritance. That is exactly what inheritance is. So you get something, you can change it if you like, you can use it as you feel. And that's what happens in Java. You have somebody created a simple calculator. The next question, oh, that's too simple. Can we have a scientific calculator? The person who created the scientific calculator said, this functionality has already been taken care of. Let me inherit from this class, though it's a simple one. So inheritance doesn't mean you're going smaller. You're going more specific. You know what I mean? You're going specific. This was simple. This is scientific. So it's going bigger, but more specific also. So the scientific says to the simple one, give me your characteristics and your functionality. I will add more to it. It becomes a scientific calculator. So the object class was created with this idea in mind that every class will definitely need these methods. Should I be able to clone an object? Clone means make a copy of. That's what the clone method does. It's quite liable that you want to make a copy of objects, of any object. So the clone method was given to you automatically by the object class. A method called equals was given to you. So if you wanted to say, is object 1 equal to object 2? So is this chair equal to that chair? That method was given to you. But now when you inherit something, you may have to change it according to your needs. So in your case, if I say two members are equal, what am I comparing between them? Their IDs. So how do I define equals in my membership class? ID of one object is equal to the ID of the other object. That's all I wanted you to do. You'll say, but why? Why are you after the equals method? Because I'll show you how I'll use it in my club class. So your aim was to override this method. So override says, pick up these signatures, come to your code, copy them here. And at override will tell you you're not making a mistake. Copy it here. And now complete this method. That's what you had to do. You have to just complete this equals method. We did this in the student class before the exam. Just 1 week, it should have been fresh in your mind. All you had to do was copy and paste and change a little. Of course, you have to change. Copy and paste also needs brains, right? If you don't use them, then you're caught. That's what happens. That's how I catch you. Right? So now all I'm asking you to write a method in the membership class to say when will two objects be equal. That's all I'm asking you to do. And we'll see how to use it. Okay. So, but you can't take a membership object as the parameter. It has to be an object. So what will you do? You will define your own membership object. Let's call it M. And you will cast this object that is coming to you into a membership object. You know what when you are going to call this method equals, you will pass it a membership object because you want to compare a membership object with whoever you are calling with, right? So basically, so we have two chairs here, and I have defined an equal method to say they are equal if their color is the same. That's my equality definition. So this chair goes to this chair and says, am I equal to you? And it says, yeah, our colors are same here. So it's exactly what this equals method is doing. This object obj is going to the current object, whoever it is talking to, and saying, am I equal to you? So what does that what does that do? That this object do? It says we are equal. Yes.
So
you are comparing this obj with
the second object, right?
That's the second object, and you're comparing it with this object.
And like the one that says just like forward object, that's object 1 then you right there, or
no? When I call this method equals, this is how I'll call it. That's what is important with what you're calling. Suppose an object membership 2 is calling the equals method with M1. This is how you're calling it. So M1, the object that is coming in, is being compared with M2.
oh,
Equals method will be called with what? Who will call the equals method? An object of type membership. So how will it call it? Object name dot equals, and it will take the second a parameter. So it's basically saying, is the object who is calling the equals method equal to the object that is being called? That's what the equals method does, right? That's how it works. So when who will call the equals method? Oh my God. Let's see if I'm lucky. No, ball pens only. Chelsea used to be here, right? With always a pen extra. I think she's dropped the course. Therefore, I don't say no, I don't have a pen. Let's see if I can get something from somewhere. You see some pen on that page? No? The black one doesn't work forever before that. That was already dead. At least better than this. Okay, so who will call the equals method? The equals method will be called with the membership object because it belongs to the membership class. So this is the format of calling a method. Name of the object dot name of the method. And it will, since equals needs a parameter of type membership, maybe it calls it with M1, M2. So this becomes this and M2. So you're basically checking is M1 equal to M2. That's exactly what it does. So so if you create an object and for the object you call the membership method, you have to pass it another object, and you're saying that another object is equal to the ID of this object with which you're calling. That's all you're doing, right? So let's write the return statement. Let's say return. I can put it in a ternary operator. So if the object you have passed, I've now converted it into M, okay? So if the object you have passed is null, then of course there is nothing to do at all. The return value is false. I can't do nothing. If now you'll say, but what, you always have to check for everything. What if you passed a null value? Null is a valid value for an object. It's a valid value. So if you try to maybe even, I'm not sure, should we be, before even converting it, should we check if it is null, or is this a valid statement? I'm not sure. Can you convert a null object to a membership object? Syntactically, it's not giving a problem. Though it's an odd one, right? What is the sense of converting a null object to a membership object? It still remains null. Looks a little odd, but I'm just thinking, can it be done?
Are you like comparing objects?
No, then of course I'm returning a false. I'm saying if you're null, nothing doing, false.
Okay.
Right? But I'm trying to see, will this statement be valid, or should I be checking even before I do it? Even before I even before I convert it, should I be checking it here? If obj is not equal to null, only then proceed. Or should I be doing it this way? But I think we are okay. If it doesn't give an error, if Eclipse doesn't give an error. So see what I'm doing. So I convert it into a membership object because I know this equals belong to the membership class. And look what I'm returning. If this M is null, then there is nothing to do at all, false. What else, what must you do? You must return what? Compare this member's ID with, not two equals, remember, this is a string. Equals ignore case is the method of the string class that compares two strings with what? With the membership M dot get member ID. Let's look at it in a minute. Let me put this on a second line. Just look at this one. What is this doing? It is comparing this with what you called, right? The present object, this object, its member ID with the member ID of the object that is coming in, which is M in my case, right? If they are equal, it will return a true. If they are not equal, it will return a false. That's exactly what we want to do. Plus, I've added this extra condition. If students didn't add it, I was okay. I didn't dock off marks. But you should, even before checking, you should check, does the object with which you are comparing exist? Is it a valid object?
So it's kind of comparing it to see if it's null or not.
Okay, so the first one is saying, is it null or not? Is this object that you said compare me with? So the chair is being compared with nobody. Okay, so if this is nobody, is not defined, then of course the answer is false. There is nothing to return. If there is an object which is not null and has come in, now I'm comparing the two objects. And how am I comparing them? I'm comparing the ID of this member, the present member, with the ID of the member you sent me. So what is this replaced by when I make a statement like M1 dot equals M2 with M1? What is this replaced by? M1, because you're calling it with M1. That's what this means. This means the current object with which you are talking. That's what this means in Java. This is a reserved dot means the current object. So when I call a method M1 dot equals M2, and when the equals method is called, this is what? M1, because who called it? M1 called it. M1 dot means M1 is the current object, the object that is talking to the equals method. So this gets replaced by M1. It takes its member ID, compares it with the member ID of this object obj, which I've converted into M. We'll bring it back to obj here. And if it is true, good. If it is false, nothing. Let me get it here now. Now you see what I'm doing? So if the object is null, if this object M is null, how will M be null? If obj is null. Null, you're taking null and converting it to nothing, null, right? If this is null, give back false. If this is not null, then compare the ID of the current object with the ID of the one that you sent was called M. You'll say it's called obj. No, it's not called obj. I've converted it into a membership object. You don't compare with obj with object. You have, if I'm saying are two chairs equal, then both are chairs. If I'm saying are two desks equal, then both are desks. The equals method wanted an object. It could be any object. So the first job I have to do is cast it into the object that I want to work with. This is called casting. I've casted it. I've changed the object into a membership object. And it has to be valid. When I call, this should be a membership object. Therefore, I can cast it. It's quite obvious. I won't call m1.equals and pass a club object to it. I will be passing a membership object to it. Therefore, I will convert it into a membership object and work with it. And I could even check it. I can check, is OBJ of type membership? I could even do that. You can make it as foolproof as possible. There is a method that is available in Java with which you can check what class it belongs to. I think it is called isClass or something. It should be right in the object class. Get class? Yes, I think it's called get class. You're right. There it is, get class. You can always find out the class of an object. So you could even check this. You can check, is OBJ a membership object? Is it not equal to null? Okay, return the answer. You can make it as foolproof as you want. So it just occurred to me. We can do it. It's no big deal. See, what will I do? Let's talk it like step by step. If OBJ is not equal, this is Java, okay. Is not equal to null, right? It is not equal to null. Am I using the right symbol in Java? Not equal to? Yes, that is the not equal in Java, right? And it's just when you use more than one languages in the same semester. And OBJ, how do I test? What was the get class doing? Get class is returning the runtime class of this object. And if I want to compare it with membership, what do? I can get the class of it. Then how do I say, are you equal to membership? There should be another method available. Like there has to be, you know what I mean? Like you can't do without it.
Compare the get class
between the two objects. Yeah, right? Yeah, logically you just have to think what you do. So this is what you have to do. And but whose class? Whose class right now? This is classes. Yeah, this is class. Okay. So this dot get class is, can I say equal to and it will work? Like, can I say this equal to? Okay. Is equal to the class of the OBJ dot get class. See what am I doing? I'm saying object is not equal to null. No, it is not equal to null. Okay, I should proceed further. Is the class of the OBJ same as the class of this? Only then can you compare two objects. Are their classes the same? Yes, if their classes are same, then do this. Convert the OBJ, and now I can't write this return statement because I've kind of changed it a little. And we'll say return. This is all I'll be returning. Maybe I'm one bracket extra and return this. Yep, one bracket extra, right? In all other cases, what do? If this is not true, I have to return false anyway. Here, job done. I've taken care of everything. I'm comparing this object. The object that is coming in is being compared to the current object. If it is not equal to null and the class of what is coming in and what is the current object's class are same, do this and return true. No, this will return. What is missing now? What does it say? Oh, I think this has to be put in round brackets. No, it still doesn't like it. What doesn't it like? Oh, there. No, still not. What doesn't it like? Let's see what error is it giving. Syntax error. Oh, one bracket missing, it is saying. So that's the member ID's bracket. Equals ignore case. Oh, yes, it is missing. There, it was missing. There was a bracket missing. So this is saying two objects of the same class can be compared. You can't compare a chair with a desk, right? So the first thing is there somebody to compare with? Object is not equal to null. Is there an object to compare with? Yes. If there is an object to compare with and the class of that object and the class of the current object who wants to be compared with are the same. So get its class, and they are the same, then compare their member IDs. If the member IDs are equal, returns a true. If the member IDs are not equal, it will return a false. You'll say, who's doing this job? This method of the string class is doing the job. Equals ignore case compares two strings. Returns a true if they are equal, returns a false if they are not equal. And equals ignore case means the case doesn't matter. ID could be Anju 123, and in the other one it could be capital A, capital N, JU 123. Ignore case, ignore the case. Job is done. Right? So this one is a little more foolproof. You've checked it is not equal to null, which I was also doing here. But I wasn't checking if the classes are equal. You could have taken this whole condition and put it here maybe. And you can write the same ternary operator. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You can say, but here the object is available. So, and inside the return it is not. But you can do it. It's no big deal. So that's a foolproof. Object exists. So with what you are comparing it exists. It is of the same class as what you're comparing with. And if yes, then compare them and return a true or false depending upon whether their IDs are equal or not. In all other cases, return a false. So if the object being compared to is null, false. If it is of a different type, one is a chair, one is a table, false. If they are both chairs, compare their color and return a true and a false. That's the equals method. In case of the object class, what does it do? Object, what does it do? All it does is compares the addresses of the two objects. Remember, objects are reference objects. They're reference variables. So its default nature is this. This is how it works default. Are you and you in the same room? Kind of stuff. That's what it does. That's when it says they're equal. They belong to the same address. They're in the same space. That's how the equals of an object class works. That's not how I want it to work for my membership class. I want to work it for my membership class according to the rule ID of you is equal to ID of you. Job done. This was exactly done for you. These lines were already done for you. I hadn't used a ternary operator, but this method was done. You have this method. You have it in your student class. There it is, student lab. I'm not sure if mine is the right one, but there it is. I've done it with you. All you had to do was change the word student to membership and your job was done. We overwrote it. We discussed it in class when we were saying the students of the same ID cannot come into the same lab class. Same here. I don't want two members with the same member ID to be joining the club again. Right? We've done it. It's right here. Anyway, things sometimes don't strike, but that's what the method does. So I've just made it a little more foolproof. I've checked if it is not equal to null. I've checked if the classes are same, and then I've converted it and used it. So you can do this. If students only did this, I mean, whoever did it, I gave them. If they didn't even check this, but only said if their memberships IDs were equal, I still gave them marks. At least they're thinking what they're doing. Right? So that completes the membership class. So this was the only method that may have taken some time. May have, but you had it. You had it with you. So when I do something, I say, the student already knows this, has it. So they should take this much time. That's how I think about it. Right? And students came up with accusations saying I hadn't even done it in class. I mean, if you don't do well, doesn't mean I haven't done it. Maybe you were not paying attention when I was doing it. You know what I mean? It's good that it's all on Blackboard, that I can prove to you that I've done it in class, though that's not the rule. The rule is if I've used one class, you should be able to use year month. We've used a class. You should know. If I use array list, you should be able to use hash map. What's the difference? Nothing. You just have to know how to look up the dictionary. Once you know how to look up the dictionary, do you say I can look up dog, but I cannot look up cat? You exactly know where to look it up. Same concept. So you have to know how to use the classes of the Java library. It doesn't matter what class it is. Okay, so that completes the membership class. So let's save it and its job is done. Right? So, I mean, of course, I'm explaining while I'm doing it, and therefore it took me half hour to do it, but it was a 10-minute job. Membership was a 10-minute job. 15, 20, 25, 30, that's it. No more than that. If you're putting more than 30 minutes into membership class, you do not know what you're doing. Okay, let's go to the second class now. Lab. Lab is a replica of club. The lab class that we did was what? The lab class was a collection of student objects. What is a club a collection of? What kind of objects? Membership objects, not strings, not integers. A group of membership objects. And it was right here. I gave it to you. I shouldn't have, but I gave it to you. Add an instance variable to hold the list of members in the club. These members are objects of type membership. What else can I tell you? All you have to now know is how do I, so notice this instance variable. Give me 1 minute, please. Okay, so we have an instance variable of type final. We haven't come across an instance variable which has been final. What does final mean? Final simply is a constant. But what does it mean, an instance variable being final? An instance variable being final means you cannot have a set method for it. You can only initialize it once in the constructor. Job done. After that, you can never change it. So I chose the club name to be a final instance variable. It could be new for you, but you weren't doing anything with it. I just thought maybe you'll pay attention and ask me, but nobody did. So maybe you knew, maybe you didn't pay attention. So such an instance variable which is final, you don't have a set method for it. You cannot try it. It will give you an error, a syntax error. You cannot write a set method for it. Finals by definition means it can be initialized only once. That's it. But you say set method does that. I'll make it private. It just doesn't allow it. Java doesn't allow you to put a set method for a final instance variable. It doesn't. So how can I initialize it? By just assigning it right in the constructor. This is what you do in the set method. You take the parameter and you assign it to the instance variable. So here is an example of an instance variable that cannot have a set method. It cannot. It's not does not, it cannot. It won't allow it. It can have a get, but cannot have a set. Okay, now add an instance variable to hold the membership objects. You need an array list of what type? Membership. Let's call it members. Job done. 2 marks. Less than 30 seconds. That's the list. Not an array list of string. No. I said it is a collection of, I even said it is a collection of membership objects. What more clear could I be? But people who haven't done well didn't have this definition even. Just imagine getting the shock of my life. Like, you do not know how to define an array list yet. So you have to know it. You can't escape it, guys. You cannot. And now I said, complete the constructor body. The param. The word param is missing. Sorry, this was a typo. But again, it shouldn't stop you from doing anything in the code. But the word param was missing. So if you created the Java doc comments, it should have said there was an error. I didn't. I should have. But anyway, that's the name of the param and the name of the club. So I have to initialize my name here using an assignment statement because it is a final variable. Now, what do you do with an if you don't initialize this, what happens to it? Null. Remember, any instance variables that are not initialized and are objects are null. If it is null, how will you work with it? You can't work with a null object. Null means does not exist. So what will you have to do here? You will have to initialize your members list. How do you initialize it? Create an object of it. You don't have to give the type here. I'm just giving it so that, like, I'm just, because you're new, you're kind of saying we won't do shortcuts. But you don't have to mention this type again if you've already declared it here. It knows now members is a array list of members. You don't have to write it again. There. Now it is a defined object. It's not null. Now you can talk to it. What's your size? Can you add this element for me? Can you tell me the element at the second position? Now you can talk to it. Now the object exists. It's not null, though it's empty. I haven't added anything to it, but the object exists. So I have a valid object now. Another 2 marks. Job done. Less than 10 seconds. Returns the name of the club. You don't have to do anything. Now this was the join method. It said add a new member to the club's list of members. The member to be given the membership for the club cannot have the same member ID as a previous member. Now here I found, I think leaving maybe a couple, people who have done well, even of them, leaving a couple, everybody used a for loop. You don't have to use a for loop. Now logically, what is the question? It's like me asking a question. Do you live in Berry? Do you live in Berry? Do you live in Berry? So like I'm asking a question. So what does join do? Join says, I will allow this member to be added to the club if this member doesn't have the same ID as of a previous member. And it's quite logical. Can two students have the same student ID? No. It's the same kind of thing. A member with the same ID, if he or she, an ID exists, you cannot have a member with the same ID. And how do you check that? You have to, so I gave you this code. I said, even before you start doing something, check, do you exist? So the member to be added to the club, does he or she exist? Yes, exists. Now, you don't need a loop. Why? Because if your members array list contains this member, contains method indirectly uses the equals method. You could have written, so some of you said, because I said use here, you wrote a loop and said, okay, I'll compare each ID, the ID of every member with this member. So is this member's ID equal to yours, people who are already present in the club. But when I said use, I put it in quotes so that, I mean, you thought of it because we had done it in class. I thought you will think about it. So what am I saying? Does the members array list already contain that member? And what does contain do? Contain calls the equals method. What does the equals method do? Compares the ID of this member with all the members in the array list, one by one. It does that job for you. So you don't have to write the loop. Contains is working that way. This is what contains does. So I have an ID 1. So I go to the first member of my club and I ask Andrew, is your ID 1? No. Then I go to next, certain. So then I keep asking. If I find a member whose member ID is 1, this member cannot join the club. And contains exactly does this. Contains talks to, it's an internal loop. It goes through every element of the array list and uses the equals method to compare our two members equal. And who's the member it is comparing with? This member who has come in. This member who has come in, it is comparing this member with all the other members in the class. And how does it do it? It says, okay, the array list says, I'm going to see if I contain this member. And there is no magic in it, guys. Contains uses the equals method to compare whether it is present or not. And we've already overridden that equals method. What did we say in our equals method? IDs are equal. So if it does not contain it, what do you need to do? You just need to add this member to the list. Well, add it, add the person, add the member, and return true. Job done. But in all other cases, you have to return a false. Don't forget, you always have to have a valid return statement. Done. So use contains, because contains is going to use equals. That was the use of writing that equals method. You could have used a loop here, but why? So if something is available, use it. If something is available, use it. Join done. Right? So contains is a method that belongs to the array list. You're asking the array lists method contains the question, do you have a member that looks like this member or is equal to this member? It says equal. How do I compare their equal? There's the equals method it uses.
There was some problem like it matches the references but not the values.
Yeah, but we've already overridden the equals method here. Remember, we've done it.
That's why I used loop, because I didn't override the method.
But this was a question in the exam to override the equals method.
It was necessary.
Yeah, it was here in the membership class. There was, so maybe you missed that and you wrote the loop. I didn't take off marks for the loop. I didn't take off marks for bad code at all. If it was working, I said, good, it's working. And as I said, some students use the equals method. So when they use the equals method, they wrote a loop here, which is, I said, okay, maybe because I said use equals, they said the loop. And maybe that's what struck you at once. But contains does it for you. Why will you write a loop? So writing the loop is not incorrect. It's not needed. So let contains do its job. Okay. So contains is a method of the array list that uses the equals method to compare two objects. I've already overridden the equals method. So when I say contains, it goes to equals, compares, and comes back. So make it easy. Make it simple. Okay, job done. So this is what I was looking for. But even if you had, instead of this, if you had a for loop here, it was still okay. As long, maybe you use the equals method, that's okay too. But this is the efficient code of comparing to, as long as you have overridden the equals method. If not, then it will compare their addresses. And this is what the argument was when we were talking about it. And therefore we overrode the equals method. Okay, number of members. This was a really easy one. How many members in your? There is a size method that does the job for you. How difficult can that be? Array list has a size method. You are asking members list. What is your size? Return it. That's the number of members in your club. Therefore, it was only worth 1 mark, but that's it. That's all you needed. The number of members who joined the club in a particular month and a particular year. Now, there are various ways of doing it. I'll just do it simply. How many people joined the club in this month and this year? That's the question. Okay, I don't know. So let's start. To begin with, how many people joined? 0. Now, I want to find out how many people joined the club in January of 2016. So I go to each one member of the club. Andrew, did you join it in January 2016? Yes or no? If he says yes, I'll increment the count. If he says no, doesn't matter. Then to Ty, then to Ming and everybody. I'll ask everybody. So since this question has to be asked of everybody, what do I need? A loop. And a for each loop is the easiest. So what is coming out of your members? Are objects of type membership. So that's a for each loop. The for each loop says 1 by 1, I'll pick up an element of this. I'll start from the first, go till the end. Don't use a normal for loop. Why are you wasting your time? Where do I start? Where do I end? You don't have to do that. If you did that, this is what you'll have to do. You'll have to say for, where do you want to begin? At I equal to 0. Till where do you want to go? I should be less than the size of members. Every time the size method will be called, which we can avoid, of course, and increment I every time. Who wants to do this? We don't want to do this. It's too much time. If an easier loop is available, I'll use that. This one automatically picks up the first element, the second, the third, goes till the end. Does everything on its own. It's called a for each loop. You can use it with only collections because you have to iterate on a collection. So don't use this one. So pick up one member at a time. What do you have to do? You have to ask the question. Yes.
Sorry, with the membership M, does that mean it starts at like the null?
No. It picks up one element at a time, assigns it to an object of type membership called M. This is assignment. Right to left assignment. Okay, so there is a colon, but it's like an assignment. Pick up the first member, assign it to M. Talk to M now. Pick up the second member, now assign it to M. Talk to M now. So M is a local variable. What should be its type? Membership. Why? Because members is a collection of membership objects. So what is coming out is what you assign. If string was coming out, I would assign it to string. Right? Okay, what is the question I need to ask this M? If M, get your year. Remember we had that get year method? Is equal to the year I am looking for. Did you join in this year? And get your month. Is it equal to? Now, some of you did this and you just said equal means equal, but what is coming out of get month is a month object. And to compare a month object, you have to use the equals method. How did I find this out? I said if strings are compared with the equals method, let me check how are month objects compared. There was an equals method there. Right? You have to think. So if the month is equals this month that I gave you, so notice I am giving you a month and I'm giving you an year. When I say I am giving you, I mean number of members joined club gets 2 inputs, a month and an year. And its job is to ask each member of the club, did you join the club in this year and this month? So did you join? So M, pick up the first member. Pick up the first element of members. Is your year equal to this year and is your month equal to this month? Yeah, it is. Okay, is it? Okay, let's increment count up by 1. Else do nothing. At the end of the day, count will tell me how many. All I have to do is job done. Finished. That's how you say how many joined. So size will not work here because size gives you the whole size of the array list. This one is checking a condition and saying, did you join the club in this year and this one? The same here. The only difference was this method wants to return the list of members who joined. This was only returning how many. This is returning a list. That means you'll have to create a list of members. I want this method to return a list of members. So what will be its return type? Its return type will be this. A part of the list. It has to be of the same type. If I have a basket of mangoes, what can I pick up out of it? Only mangoes, not apples, right? So if I have a club of members, what can I pick from them? A list of members. So what will be the return type? An array list. Let's call the method whatever you like. Did I call it something in my tester? No, nothing. So the list of members who joined. So let's call it list of members. Joint kind of stuff, like let's call it join, right? And again, it takes 2 parameters. Tell me who all joined in this year and who all joined in this month. In what year? The year, and the month. You could call it anything. Like I just named them the same. Just, I don't know if it confuses you, we can change it. So here are the 2 arguments to this method. It will ask for an year. It expects you to give an year and a month. And its job is again the same. This time the job is a little different. It's not counting, I'm done. If Andrew joined in a particular month of a particular year, I take his information and duplicate it in another box. And this duplication is actually not duplicating since it is objects. So I have 2 lists. This list already has these pointers, and the new list I create will also have a pointer to Andrew, a pointer to another person, a pointer. So we have the same members in one place, and the club is pointing to every member, but this new list is only pointing to those members that joined in that month and that year. So how do I do it? Same concept, everything same. Use a loop. Okay, so we'll require a local array list here of type membership, because I need a temporary box in which to keep the names, right? I need a temporary box. I'm calling that temporary box joined. I have an array list of joined, and now I'm going to write this loop. And instead of count plus plus, what do I have to do? Take the joined box and add this element to it. What isn't it like? Array member list, membership joined. Initialize variable. That's strange. Oh yeah, of course it's not strange. New, forgot my new. Otherwise it's null, remember? Otherwise you don't have to say the type again, but here. It's not initialized. So again, I can't talk to somebody if it's not, it doesn't exist. So I created a local joined list. It's a local box, like a temporary box, right? I initialize it with new array list called the constructor. As I told you, once you write it here, once it is declared, you don't have to repeat it. If you want to, so that you understand things, just repeat it. And then now what do? I go through each member in the members list, each membership object. I say, is your year equal to the year and is your month equal to the month I'm looking for? Yes. Add yourself to my temporary box. So at the end of the day, what will this list contain? All those members who joined in a particular year and a particular month. And remember, no duplications are done. These are objects. So it's the same thing sitting at, suppose 4 things sitting, they're all of the same type, silly me. Okay, so 4 chairs at the same time. These 4 chairs are in the classroom, right? And I'm looking for a chair with maybe paper on it, kind of like here. Okay, so this is the list of chairs. Okay, so these are the list of members, 4 members. Do you have a paper on you? Yes. Okay, so let me keep your address. I'm not making a copy of it. I'm saying, what's your address? I'll write it down in my book. Do you have a paper on you? Yes. Let me keep your address. So the object is at one place, but the club also has their addresses where they live, And this new list also, they has their addresses where they. This always happens with objects because objects are reference variables. So I'm not making a copy. Add doesn't make a copy. Add just says, oh, that's your address. Objects are only kept at one place. And at the end of the day, all you have to do is return this list. Job done. If nobody got added, nobody had paper on it, this list is empty. We'll check it in our main tester. Are you empty? If yes, nothing to be done. If no, tell me what's inside you. What was not asked of you was this method, but I've added it here. I've said this method, I hadn't done it with you. We had talked about it. I didn't expect you to do it in 3 hours. So I thought, let me not ask them. This one is saying remove the members who joined the club. This was not asked. This was not a part of your midterm. I added it afterwards because I want to discuss it with you. This is a good chance to discuss it. I've already talked about the remove method of the array list with you, if you remember. If not, this is what it is. A remove method of the array list just removes a member from the array list. It's just thrown out. Thrown out means the reference is lost. The method is available. It's called remove. There is a remove all also. If you only wanted to remove a member, it works perfectly fine. The problem comes with when you want to remove more than one members of the same type, right? What happens in that case is simply this. And I had explained it. I remember I had explained it. I'll try to explain it once more. Suppose I have an array list. I'm just putting numbers into it. 1, 2, 2, 1, 3, 2, and so on. And I want to remove anybody with ID 2 out of it. Okay, so this is what I do. Same thing. I say, are you equal to 2? No. Go to the next one. Are you equal to 2? Yes. Remove method is used. When the remove method is used, this is removed, and the rest of the list moves forward. Okay, so I was here. I asked the question of this member, and then where does my pointer move in a for loop? It goes to the next one. It has gone to the next one, but before that, this element has moved one position forward. I've lost asking question of this person. I've lost it. Where is my pointer? I was here. I said, are you 2? And he said yes. After he answered, my pointer went here to the next position. But by that time, this 2, when this was deleted, this 2 moved forward. And who has taken its place? This one. So I missed a person. I missed this person asking the question. I couldn't delete this 2. So while you're working in a loop, since if an element is deleted, the rest are moved forward. If you're asking a question, I've said I've already asked this chair the question. I've already put a paper on it, right? I've already put a paper on it. I go to the next one. But if this chair changes its position here, I never asked this chair the question. So I've lost it. So you should not use the remove method in a loop if you want to remove more than one elements in an array list. You cannot. It will give you an error. It's a bug.
Can't you just do I minus?
Yeah, but then how do you know whether it is or not? You know what I mean? Like then you'll keep doing this.
Yeah, like when
you ask, then you come back. Then you ask, then you come back. But Java said, oh, we made a mistake. Let us give you a solution. So they gave a solution. They created another class called iterator that will do this job. They said, don't remove elements. 1 is fine. Remove an element at position 5. Okay, good. No problem. Removes it. 1 is okay. But it said now this is causing a problem. So this bug came up with Java 1 itself. The bug was found right in Java 1. So the iterator interface, it's an interface, not a class, but what is an interface? It is a special kind of class. We'll talk about it when the time comes, right? If otherwise in advance. So an interface class was created that took care of this bug. And the solution is don't use the remove method of any collection. Always use an iterator on the collection to remove the objects. How do we do it is what I'm going to write for you now. Okay, so it says removes the members who joined and returns the deleted list. I also want that list. If you didn't want it, then we wouldn't do less work than what we are doing, but we'll just do it. Okay, so it returns an array list. I want to know who all were deleted. If this information was not needed, the return type would be void. Okay, so deleted, members deleted. Something like members deleted or whatever. I want to show you this. Okay, so members who were deleted. What does it take? The year and the month. Year is an int and month is a month object. Same concept, absolutely same. Ask create an array list, ask the members, and then do what is the, but we can't use the remove method. Okay, so this is the solution. Create an iterator object. I'm just going to call it, I mean, you can call it anything. I'm just going to call it it. Okay. So who is this iterator? Why is it giving me this? Because you just need to import java.util.iterator. Okay. Create an iterator. How do you create an iterator object? You create an iterator object on a collection. Okay. So what's your collection? There is no constructor in that class. It's not a class. It is an interface. This is how you create an iterator object. Come on, I thought it would do it itself. Give me the fix. No, not the swing X, the java.util one we want, okay? We want the java.util one. Here, create an iterator object. This is how you create it. There is no constructor. It's not a class. You don't say new iterator. You call the iterator method of the array list. Every collection has an iterator method. You call the iterator method of the collection to create an iterator object. That's how you do it. There is no other way. Okay. Now use the iterator object while this iterator object has next. There are only 4 methods in this interface. Has next, next, and remove. And another one that I can never remember because I don't use it at all. This is the loop you will use. You're asking. So it's like this. It's like as if you have employed a rabbit to jump from one chair to another in the class. So I say, rabbit, please go to each student in my class. So how do I create that rabbit? That rabbit is called IT, and I say, this is my lab class, create an iterator on it. So you become the iterator. So IT takes birth, that rabbit comes. Then the rabbit says, is there a next student? Is there a next student? Is there a next student? The iterator asks these questions of itself. So while the iterator has next, get the next element. Okay, so the next element will be a membership. We need a local membership. Okay, so get it. M is assign the value IT, get your next member. I'm using type mismatch. Members. Oh, sorry. The type. I forgot to mention the type. It is an iterator of type membership, right? Because it is being created on members, you have to say its type. Because you can create an iterator on any collection. So you are creating it on membership objects. Okay, so is there a next student? Yes, get it. Next will get it, okay? So you are getting it, kind of talking to it. What are you asking M now? You are asking M, is your year equal to this and is your month equal to this? If it is the case, you're asking the iterator to remove the M. Remove method, void remove with it there. It will get it. It will ask the question and it will remove it. This is how you remove objects from an array list using an iterator object. But we have to do something else also. What do we have to do? We have to add it to the deleted list. Oh, so let's first add and then take your deleted list and create one. A local list is needed. I want to return these people who were deleted. So same concept, the joined one, same concept. Create an array list, a local one. Add this member to it. And then remove it. No, it doesn't matter as far as I remember. You could do it in any sequence. Oh, spelling is wrong. There. So I create a new array list. See, when you don't write your membership here, it kind of gives this yellow squiggly, which is just a warning. So I usually like to put my stuff with my type. It can be done, but it gives you the yellow one. Okay, so create a local array list, create an iterator, a local object. Do you have more to talk to? The rabbit is saying, is there more students in my class, kind of? Is there a next person? It's like a for loop, but this is how you have to do it. So see 3 methods, has next, next means get it, and remove means remove it. And at the end of the day, when you are done, what should you be doing? You should be returning this deleted list. You should be returning this. So this wasn't expected of you because we had only discussed it theoretically, but now you see it practically. This is how you delete members from a collection. Create an iterator object on it. Ask the iterator to go through the list while it has next. Get it using the next method and remove it using the remove method of the iterator. I'm not using the remove method of the array list. But this works foolproof. So this bug was with, it is with every collection, whether it is array list, hash map, tree map, any collection in Java, do not use the remove method. If one is available, do not use it. Do it through iterators. An iterator is an interface, has only 4 methods, has no constructor. The 3 methods you are seeing, has, next, and remove. I can never remember the 4th method because it was added afterwards. The 4th method was added in Java 6 or something. Therefore, I can never remember it. I don't know what it is. I really don't remember. There. So this question was not asked of you. I added it afterwards. So if you want, you can kind of copy it here if you are taking it and then just add it. So this method removes the members who joined the club in the given month and year and returns the list of the deleted members. If you did not want this, then remove the reference of deleted everywhere. Then we don't need it. We return nothing. It's void then, right? But I wanted you to again kind of see the same concept what you had seen in the previous. I created a local array list. I created this is all to remove. This is how you have to do it. You cannot use the remove method of you cannot use the for each loop and use the remove method of the array list. It may work. It may work if there is no members that are equal. If there is maybe only one member with this year and month, or maybe there are more, but they're not sitting together. But we can take that risk. We don't know. So since it is a bug, we know it is a bug in Java, why not just do it the right way? So if you haven't seen this before, this could be new for you. I'll put this on Blackboard once I'm done. Job is done. Membership is finished. I know I've taken more time than I thought I would just because we are explaining so much, right? You have to understand it. So contains, the use of contains, Ty, you missed it while I was doing it. You went to get your coffee. So maybe afterwards in the break or something, I'll explain you the join method again. Okay, this is an important method. You will see it every time in an array list. You will always see it. Okay, so job done. Let's save it. No syntax errors. Let's come to the tester now. Any questions? Anything that is not clear here? I know it's a big class, but it's a straightforward class. There's nothing that is tough in it. No code was more than 5 lines of code. I didn't see anything with more than 5 lines of code here. The deleted I never asked of you. I didn't. This method was not asked in the exam. So like how long does it take? Same logic. And somebody, I forget who now, but I must give credit to this person. Instead of writing this method with the count variable, he was smart enough to call this method, take this list joined and return its size. So this is what he did. He called this method, he called it here. And it was a smart thing. So instead of writing all that code, because it's the same code, he called this method. This method was returning a list. An array list, we know that, right? It's the same concept. One is counting, one is returning a list. And since it is returning a list, he found the size of it and said, here, let me return this. Why do I do the same job again? So this, he didn't have this at all. Neat, right? Call the other method. The other method is creating a list of members who joined. So call it. So what do? Call that method. When you call that method, what do you get back? A list. You give it size. If it is an empty list, it will be 0. If it is more than one list, it will be the number. That was a smart thing to do. Sometimes doesn't occur. It didn't occur to me. But you see, it's the same code. Do you see this code? I did a copy and paste of this code here. The only difference I did was instead of saying count plus plus, I joined this member to a list. So since this method is already available, this list of members joined is already available, call it. With the same year and month, you have it. That's what you want to do. Oh, that wants year, month. This wants month, year. Okay, that's okay. Doesn't matter. I mean, you just have to see in what sequence it is being called and gets its size. When the same code is repeated, use the other method. So that was a smart move. I should have given him bonus. I forget who it is. I think if I go back, I can figure out. So that can be done too. So this is all logical. It's just logical, how you think about it. Okay, let's complete the tester class now. This shouldn't take long because this was just, everything was there. You just have to fill it in. Total number of members in the club. The name of the club had to be given and how many members were there. Methods are already available. The name of the club. You can't copy it from here or anywhere. The variable is called instructor club. Now, can you imagine if you do not know how to use an object, then you don't know object-oriented programming at all. So how do I get the name of the club? After the comma, Control V, name of the object, dot, name of the method, get club name. That's how you get the name of the club. Let me put it in another line so that you can see what I am doing. This percentage S will be replaced by instructor club.get name. And how do you get its size? There's a size method. Remember we said get, no, it wasn't get. Members, was it members? No, that's the array list. Number of members. There it is. Number of members. There is the method. That tells me how many members in the club. But you have to know how to call the methods of an object. Object name dot the name of the method. If you don't know that, then life is going to be difficult. Object-oriented programming means what? Create objects and then call their methods. Okay, number of members who joined in March of 2021. Okay, so number of members. Same club. We just did members joined in. Where was it? How many? This is number of members joined club. There it is. What month am I saying? Now, I had given you 5 examples in the same tester to how to give a month name. It was right there. All you had to do was copy it. The month March was right here. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I have no clue how it got here, but it says give me the month. You can call it by month.march. The value 3 also will work. And you'll say, here I've done it here. See, I've made Anju Chawla join in. I've shown you so many ways of doing it. 1 of 2010 is January 2010. I've written it as a string also, but a string cannot be used. I'm asking you 2 values. This will do, and of course this will do. Same thing. And all these have to be caps. They are enumerated constants. So you don't even have to think or look up. Just write and then 2010. These many people joined in 2010. Job done. Right? Let's look at the third one. Now it says, now call the method members joined. Oh, I said members joined club. I don't know what I called it there. To get the list of the members who joined the club in March of 2010. Basically, now remember, people who joined in 2010 was returning an array list, or wherever they joined, wherever, doesn't matter. So create a temporary array list of type membership. You have, if it is returning you something, you have to get it. Let's call it member lists, member list, just for the heck of it. You can call it members again, really doesn't matter. Local variable. Take your members list and assign to it club. Oops, club is gone. Which method to call? Members who joined the club. Here, I've just named it differently, guys, but that's okay. In what year? 2010. In what month? Month of March. You can give a 3 if you like. This is just more clear. This was the list of people who joined in March. Why have I assigned it to a member list? Because it is returning an array list to me. If you don't save it, it's gone. Because the next question is display their names. So call display members, which we haven't yet written, and pass it this list. And print it out. And print it out. Display it. That was your next job. The display members is not yet written, so don't worry. That's why you see a red squiggly. So one by one, that's all you're doing. What I'm asking is what you're writing. Read carefully. And then I just did a dash dash. I said complete this number of persons who joined in May. You'll say, why the same question again? Because there were no members who joined in May of 2010. I wanted to see an answer of 0 and then an empty list, right? So you'll do the same thing. List, we want the number of members who joined in whatever. This was just to, and instead of March, you have to say May. Now I think Michael left before I changed it into 6 and 7. And a student asked, don't we have to call the method? You could have simply called it like this. You could have said display members, but the other class at that point of time knew about it. So instead of going step by step like I did here, so same question was repeated. You'll say, but why did you repeat it? Because in one I wanted to do a list and the other I said, please don't show me anything. Here, people who joined in May, and then again the same member list. Don't keep creating local variables if you can use the same local variable member list. I don't want you to keep creating local variables. But what did I do? Members list. And display members here. Now, I was missing 6. Oh, it was not for you. It was the Monday section because they did it before. I forgot to write 6 for them and they got confused. You don't have to. You can write this statement. This statement can be written right inside the call. Oops. If I forget something, it can be done. Control Z, Control Z. You could have taken this code. You don't have to save it in a local variable. Take this line and put it straight here. You can do it like this. You can put it right here. What's there? It's returning an array list. I'm passing it to display members. So I forgot to give 6 on Monday. I just forgot, but people panicked. Whoever, because they said, oh, she's asking it here. Here I wanted to see, can you assign it? And here this assignment was not necessary. You could, if this was not present, all you have to do is call it like this. As long as you understand what you're doing is the main thing. I thought, not to confuse anybody, go step by step. Complete, tester is complete. I just have to write display members. Okay, so let's write the display members. Okay, code this method. Now, it is in the tester class, okay? Main needs to call it. So if main needs to call it and main is static, we'll make this also static. Returns nothing is called display members. Takes something and does something. We'll look at what it takes and what it does in a minute. If you don't make it static, then to call this method display members, you will have to create an object of tester inside the class and call it with tester.displayMember. Why do more effort? When you're writing an application, just make every method static. It's just a rule. It's not a rule, it's a norm, right? So it's just a static method. And why the rule is static methods can call static methods. Main is static, so it can only call a static method. Remember static, there is no object in existing. You can call it with a class name. So when you run your tester, main is automatically called. GRE can call the main. Okay, what do we want to do? Create a helper method that takes a list of members as an argument, okay? It takes a list of members as an argument. Okay, here is it. Takes a list as members, call it M or members. Really doesn't matter what you call it. That's what it takes, a list of members. And it displays the name and ID of each member by calling the methods of the membership class. Display only if the list is not empty. If, now you can check the size is equal to 0, or there is also the empty method, is empty method in the array list. So if it is not empty, this is what I want to do. So if it is empty, it won't say anything. Therefore, May, in case of May, it will not say anything, but in case of March, it will say, here is their name and ID. So here is their name and ID. I gave you the message also so that you didn't have to think. That's because who has time in exam to think all this? What message do I put here? Okay, now all I have to do is spit out their name and spit out their IDs. That's all I have to do. So use the for loop. Again, what's coming out of members is a membership object. All I have to do is spit their, you can use a system out printf or out ln, whatever you, it's not a big thing, but anyway. We want to split. I don't think I even gave headings. I just split the name and I can do a print ln also. Their name and their IDs. Okay, so their name and their IDs. M is coming out, get their name. So get their ID or their name. What, by calling the methods, the name and ID. Okay, so the name first. Doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. M dot get name. Okay, so that's the first one. Then I said either tab it or kind of leave some blanks, do something about it. So I used a tab in between. And then it's ID. And don't forget to put it on a new line, which we have already done. That's all I wanted. So you could use a print F, but there was nothing to format. So the name, a tab, and their ID. Go to the next line, name, their tab, and ID. That's display members. 4 marks. Not even 5 minutes. Right? Let's save. And run. Okay, so membership was given to Anju because her ID was 1, to Jarrett Wright because his ID was 2, to Ross Bigelow because his ID was 3, not to Scott McCrindle because his ID was 3 and was same as Ross Bigelow. Your join method is working, right? Not to Anju Chawla again because it's the same object. So you're showing both things. You cannot join the same object. Anju Chawla is the same object. You cannot join another object with the same ID. Both should work. The contains, that's why contains is working. Contain, if I had not overridden the equals method, Scott McCrindle would have joined the club because equals just means are they the same objects? That's what contains does, right, Pranav? That's what it does, compares the address. So I couldn't have made Anju object join twice if I hadn't overridden the equals method. But contains calls the equals. Equals is comparing the IDs and nobody with the same ID gets joined. So Scott McCrindle cannot join. So if you had these answers given, denied, given, you're done. How many total members in my club? 4 at the end of the day. Number of members who joined in March, 2. Here is their name and ID, and nobody joined in 0. I didn't want to see here is their name and ID again. Therefore, I said only show me when it is greater than, when the size is greater than 0. Done. So it took us almost 2 hours. We started around 2:22-ish, more than 2:50, after 2:15. But that's with all the talking and explaining and everything. Hopefully something has gone into the head, right? I can only hope. I can try my best. That's all I can do. So now your job is to again redo the test at home without looking at my code and trying doing it. When you get stuck, then see what and how it has been done. Then it will help you to reiterate. All I've done is used methods of array list. All over and over again. Array list everywhere. And the same kind of concept in your retest also. So I had almost, I think I had told you to in the all complete, I think 10 or 11 methods you filled up. You will be asked to do the same filling up in the retest also. Except that I'll just do it in one class. I won't kind of divide it. So you'll do one thing, but if you can do it, then I can read then. I mean, if I can write the tester, I'm still working on it. If I can complete it, I'll do it. If not, I'm not going to put in too much effort. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of work to create testers. But I'm doing it. I'm trying it. Because I'm doing it, I have to do the test before I give it to you. So I am doing it. But I do it in a rough manner. Giving it to you means really neat and clean, right? And I do cheating. Remember, I said I go to BlueJ and I test my classes in BlueJ. If they work in BlueJ, then I know they work. So I'm doing that. So I'm almost on my test completion state. And the test is almost ready. But this is what it is. You still lose 10%. I won't let you make up for 30%. It's not fair to students who did them well. But you can choose between, people who have done well can choose between what they want their test and what they want their assignment to be. The assignment will be worth 10% and the test will be worth 30%. I'm sure people who haven't done well will choose the new retest, which is why I'm doing it. So they're kind of losing 10% because people who've done bad is really bad, right? So that takes care of your exam. With addition, we did deletion also today. So you saw a new iterator class. I mean, I don't know, maybe you saw it before, but I mean, for me, it was new. I haven't done it in class. Right? Now you can take a break of not too long. Let's keep it to 15 minutes today instead of 20. Try to come back in 10 if you can, but 15 is, I think, more than enough. And then we'll do what we need to do in the product class. We'll try to complete it. I want to finish it off. I don't think you can do in class, and I'm not giving in classes at home. Guys, you have to understand something. There is a policy, an academic misconduct policy in the college, which needs to be followed. Do your own homework or don't do it. But over and over again, I have to call these same students because I can see cheating going on. And it's shameful. I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting your time also. I have to call you, I have to do it. One time I gave everybody let go. The first assignment, I had 10 or 12 students helping each other. I told them no because it was 5%, but I said, okay, for this time it's just a 0 and it's a friendly warning. But I don't think the friendly warning has worked. I don't think it has worked. So the next is 0 in the course. But I feel that if you do it in class and you get stuck, I can help you out. That's another thing. Anyway, people who don't work, leave it to the last minute. So people who want to work in class, at least I can help them out if they get stuck. So the in class will be in class and the exam, the retest will be in class, which means the bigger assignment also, which is worth 10% will be in class. 10 or 15, I haven't decided. Somewhere I have to give students who did well some kind of bonus. You know what I mean? Some kind of plus and some kind of negative to people who really did bad, just because I want to be fair. So this I'll put on Blackboard before I leave, or maybe while you take your break, I'll do it. But this is what the test was about. And the retest will still be on array list. It will be still full of array lists. Right? So do it well. So try it again and again and again. And again, all you have to do is ask me. So we'll do the retest 2 weeks from now. Okay, I'll put up an announcement next week. But we'll do an in-class next week for sure. So you were working on product and stock with me. We'll continue to work on it. We'll complete it. Today I want to just get rid of it, complete and finish it off. And then the assignment is on it itself. And your retest is also on it. So you have some idea of what's going on. Okay, so that's fair enough, I think, giving you quite a bit of cues and everything. But yes, it will be all coding again. Okay, so that's done. So let me zip this up for you. So your Thursday. You can take a break, guys. You can take a break. Midterm exam.